Hi. Here we are again, and we're talking to who?
We are talking to white peeps.
White
People
people.
that look like us.
Yes. We're not talking about what 23andMe showed you. We're talking about this right here. This white right here. We're talking to you.
And we are talking to you because, like many of you, we've been sufficiently freaked out, afraid, angry, and all kinds of other emotions. And from the landscape we have surveyed by those most affected by the racial issues that have been going on forever, the best way we can be an ally for them is to speak to you.
And that's what we're doing. So we're going to start by laying out just some terms and stuff that we're going to be using that we want you to understand and want you to carry forward, and we want you to really look carefully at as you start on your own path.
So why don't you do race first, because you're good at that one.
Thank you. The idea of race is, first of all, socially constructed, which means it's imaginary. The color of our skin is completely just due to melanin and nothing else. It doesn't imply anything else about us, and yet here we are, socially constructed differences based on this thing here. So what is racism, Annie?
Racism is a specific prejudice, so a prejudice against people that don't look like you, for example, combined with institutions and or a system that reinforces that prejudice. So it's not just prejudice alone, but it's that prejudice that's also been enhanced and supported and made possible by systems in place, such as government, corporations, you name it.
And what white people have in dealing with race and racism is we have a systemic, kind of like Annie says, water around us, and we are the fish, called white privilege. We can't see it like the water for the fish. It is everywhere. It is imbued. It's like air around us as humans. Invisible and yet always working for our benefit.
First, I want to say what white privilege is not,
Mhm.
because that seems to be a source of provocation for many people I know. The word privilege, frankly, I wouldn't have used it. I don't know who made it up, but I wouldn't have used it. Maybe it's this Peggy McIntosh person, and we'll put a link to her essay in '88 that I guess is widely considered to define it. Anyway, privilege in this case does not mean you have a lot of money, does not mean you were born into nobility, does not mean you have an easy life at all. In fact, you could have a crap life and still have white privilege. White privilege in this particular context means that it's unseen, it's unconscious, but that you have an easier time being an American because you have white skin. You didn't earn it, you didn't ask for it, you just got it.
We're asking you to first educate yourself. We have a bunch of links we're going to put in the thing. Start with those. Those will lead to others. You'll go down the internet rabbit hole and ask people, talk to people, learn. As I like to say, unlearn and then learn again. Because you're going to need to unlearn the white privilege that you have benefited from. And by you, I mean me and Annie, all of us white people. We have a lot to unlearn if we're going to create a better place.
Let's tell a few tales.
Would you like to start?
Well, one of the things I wanted to focus on today is, and I see this in myself as well as others, is that, look, I'm going to be honest. White privilege is, being privileged like that, I like it. I admit it. I like getting to go to a store and not being kicked out because I look white and they're assuming I shoplifted. I like not freaking out when a cop stops me thinking I'm going to die. I need to admit that black people are not living in the same country I am. So I want to spend some of my white privilege to help them. Now, that being said, it's scary for me because I'm assuming, as I have been raised this way, that if I give up some power, which is what privilege is in this context, or maybe always is, it's power. If I give up some power, then I have less power. So how is that going to affect me? If I'm helping someone else, what do I lose in the process? And I have an example of this. So Kid Lit is working to be more diverse. And so there are times when certain literary agents, very sought after literary agents, will close their their house to any submission that is not by a diverse voice, which basically means if you're white, don't apply. Now, when this first started happening, and still on occasion when it happens, my knee jerk reaction is, oh man, it's already hard enough to get published. And now they're telling me, now because I'm white, I'm not going to get published just because I'm white. They don't even know if my story's any good. They don't know who I am. And then I thought when I was writing about this the other day, oh my goodness, this is a little piece of what it's like to be judged solely on the color of your skin and be denied an opportunity. This gives me a little way in to remind myself of what my Black colleagues, friends, community members, etc. They go through this almost every minute of every day. So if I can remember this story, it's a way to nudge myself to spend some of my privilege. So I applaud the literary agents who are doing this. Hey, if I know someone, I'll send them, maybe I'll tweet to a friend of mine who's Black and say, hey, submit to this house. They're looking for your stories. Or whatever else I can do to uplift people around me to take advantage of this opportunity. Is there still a part of me that's afraid because of how I've been raised that it's a me or them thing? Sure. But at the end of the day, if I step back from my fear and I look at it, I realize, in the words of Jana Morishima, an agent bud of mine, persistence is what breeds creative success. I wish talent mattered. It probably does some, but it's persistence. So if we all persist and we all uplift each other, we'll all eventually get in the same ballpark. Not the exact same results, but in the same ballpark.
Yeah. It points to a pervasive problem in American society where we think that giving of ourselves means losing something. And it applies to kindness and everyday decency towards other people.
Being vulnerable.
Being vulnerable. It applies in so many areas where, I don't know if it's a capitalist society or whatever we've got, that says if you give, you will suffer. If you give up some of whatever you've got, you're going to go down. And every piece of my being, my ridiculously idealistic being, believes that you're going to feel it at first and then it absolutely won't be so. We will all get better. And I really believe that.
I mean, the change starts with the man in the mirror, or the human in the mirror. And if we want to leave it better than we found it, this is what we need to do. And I frankly think ultimately that's all of our deep purpose. Yeah. Leave this life better than when we found it. What's your story, Christina?
My story points to just something so everyday that I realized is just not an everyday thing. And it is a white privilege thing in this case, in my part. When my husband and I were looking for a house here, we drove around, we looked at real estate listings, so many online, and then we wrote down addresses and drove to the houses that we were interested in. We would park in front of the houses. We would look at the houses. We would sometimes take just a picture of the house or something about the house we wanted to kind of focus on. And we would do this over and over again. Nobody questioned us, stopped us. Nothing happened. No cops were called. And my husband, who's a race scholar, said, if we had been Black or perhaps another marginalized group, there would be a cop on our tail before we left the first house. And there was nothing to say. I really realized this, just like going into a store, you don't realize you're privileged until you have a way to take it apart, until you have a crack, a window in. Like Annie.
Or until you've had a moment where you, for whatever reason, lost it.
Yeah.
What are our wrecks?
Boy, do we have.
We had too many.
We have. Let me tell you how many things are going to be down in the thing. And we want you to look at them, because we've read all of these. We wouldn't recommend them if we hadn't. I'm going to recommend the book. This book is Anti-Racist by Tiffany Jewell and Aurelia Durand. I want to make sure Durand or Durand. It's in the thing. This is a book written for young people. I would say early teens on up. And it simply takes apart what we've been talking about in a very easy, transparent way. And it's a good starting point for anybody who is now, after listening to us, or perhaps from something else entirely unrelated to us, is questioning their worldview right now and starting to want to be part of helping the situation rather than contributing to it. Wrestling with your own white privilege is a great start, and this book is a great start.
One of my recs is a picture book. I think it might be for older kids and definitely for parents or caretakers, because I think some of the concepts need to be broken down for kids. But it's called Not My Idea by Anastasia Higginbottom, and the link will be downstairs. And the other thing I wanted to recommend that Bob, Christina's husband, turned me on to is this book by Beverly Tatum. Does she have a middle name in there?
Beverly Daniel Tatum,
Thank you.
PhD.
Beverly Daniel Tatum. Why are all the black kids sitting together in the cafeteria? One of the reasons I love that book, aside from the fact that it introduced me to Audre Lorde, and I want to link down about her, who I love, who sadly is no longer with us, is also because it helped me realize there were times when I thought I was being a good ally when I was not. So it helped me better understand more the dynamics of what black folks need me to do, and frankly what they don't want me to do. I saw a great conversation, and unfortunately I think it's behind a paywall, but if it's not, I'll put the link in the downstairs, between two YA writers, Jason Reynolds and Brendan Kiley. And what Jason kept saying was, we need you to listen, we need you to hear our stories, and then we need you to go talk to other white people and try to help them understand what's going on and how you guys can all make change. And he stressed baby steps.
Mm-hmm.
Just little things at a time that's in your influence. He said he wasn't expecting us to change it overnight. He knows that's a ridiculous, unachievable expectation, sadly, but it is. He said, don't overwhelm yourself. Take baby steps, but just make it a focus of something you do as much as you can. Giving you a lot of info.
Yeah.
Hopefully we haven't overwhelmed you, but we understand if a lot of these terms are new for you. We might have by accident. God knows I was overwhelmed when I was first introduced to a lot of these ideas. We would love it if you would reach out to us in the downstairs, ask questions, provide other suggestions, recommendations, spread the word about this video if you feel it was helpful, and subscribe, because our bottom line for this space is to help us and you keep working with our fears and transforming it so that we make choices from a place of love and a place of security and peace of mind, which is where the best choices come from, in our opinion.
I couldn't say it better myself. You said it all. Until next time.
Till next time.
Take care and spend your privilege.
Spend your privilege.
Boom. Bye.